right. So what are you doing right now?
Me, I'm just running through the story mission. This is
All right,
something
what
new.
story
So you
mission?
gotta understand,
Okay.
so what happened is, so they had a 35 gig patch last night, okay, to prepare for the
Yeah,
DLC
dude.
that dropped
MCC
on
had a
Tuesday.
72 gig patch. What's up, dude?
Okay,
Anyways,
actually, I learned about Halo's 72 gig patch is
yeah, it
actually
doesn't have
some
to be
recursive
72.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of it's like they rewrite old files to
Yeah.
like update their efficiency and stuff. So anyway, though, so we're actually redoing one of the first missions of the latest DLC. So the latest DLC is called Warmind. The whole point is that we introduce a new character. She's like old to the series. She's been in lore for a while, but we've never like seen her. So she's experimenting on Mars. She's been like going through some shit. The ice caps of Mars are melting, and they unmelted like a bunch of like new enemies. And by new enemies, I mean they're reskinned enemies from like a long time ago. So anyway, they're like old enemies reskins, but the whole thing is they brought around new threats. So like other bosses from lore have apparently been frozen away. They're back now around. Gets really deep into lore, but basically one of the big points in the whole series is that they have these things called war mines. And what they are is like big ass AI that are basically like defense like systems, defense AI all over the galaxy. And ours defends our solar system. His name is Rasputin. He's like a Russian based AI, and he's starting to go rogue. He's like starting to become sentient.
What do you know, dude?
Yeah, so he's basically saying, I could basically do whatever the fuck I want. And he's like, and you guys use me like I'm a fucking hammer. He's like, so it's kind of bullshit. Right. So basically he gets really shitty this whole DLC and does his own thing.
Okay.
Which really opens up some interesting doors.
So is that just like a general overview of what I should be thinking about with this new, is it safe to call it an expansion?
Yeah, I would call it an expansion. This one, the new expansion, Forsaken, more than others. I mean, I don't like hype it up to be like the next best thing, but basically this one's done more than the base game and the previous two DLCs combined is what they're going for. Because they're changing the way the base game's foundation worked. Like they're changing weapon pools, they're changing the way mechanics worked, improvements. Basically, they reworked the entire system that the base game like had, and they've even made adjustments and further improvements that the old games or the newest DLCs didn't do. So that's like, where we're coming from is like Destiny 2, drastically different from Destiny 1. They introduced some Destiny 1 features back into Destiny 2, and because of that, they've had to like rework everything to be, still cohesive. Yeah. So
yeah,
that's where we're at. And then like this mission I'm doing is just, a part of some of like the recent changes in the last DLC, but also accompanied by the prep changes for Forsaken. So
got it. Okay, so for someone who literally knows nothing about Destiny, has never played not even a single second of it. And as a matter of fact, this is legitimately some of the first Destiny gameplay I've ever been inclined to watch.
Yes.
With all of that being said, what should someone like me expect were I to just jump in right now? With this new expansion, what is like, am I going to, as a brand new player, am I going to benefit in any way from coming in now?
Yeah, I think now's the best time to come in, to be honest, because like the last year, you got a bunch of empty promises and like half-assed content, and I think it was like somewhat half-assed because they knew Destiny wasn't well received on launch, so I think they saved a lot of the good stuff till now. So I think now's the best time to come in, dude. You're coming in now with loads of content that's been improved upon. So that's one thing to keep in mind is like you're skipping, or let me say this. You're coming in at a time where other players' frustrations have only made the game better for you. So that's something to keep in mind.
Okay.
So like a lot of the bullshit that's been like broken or buggy or like maybe too ambitious, like maybe the grind was too much, like some stuff that's been like gone or things that were missing have now been introduced. Like this gun I have right here, this crazy looking sniper rifle. It's called the Whisper of the Worm. It's actually modeled after a Destiny 1 sniper that people wanted back in the game because it was really good. And the only way to obtain it is by doing a secret like quest item. It's not even like a thing, but it's like a secret like unlock that you have to do in Destiny 2. And it was completely discovered and like founded and like explained upon by the community. Bungie never talked about this gun. They never mentioned it. All they did is they said, hey, you should go look around Mars. There's something to do. And the way to do it, you literally just had to play around until you happen to break the code to find the thing. So that wouldn't have been introduced if the community didn't speak up and say they wanted more shit like that. So there's that. But basically, if you're coming on Destiny now, man, you have so much to look forward to. Like, the base game isn't bad. Like the story is, and the cinematics are arguably some of their best work, period. The DLCs are very short, so like I wouldn't sell the DLCs too much, but the raid layers are pretty good. And the raid layers are the end game, basically, you want to do. The story itself is interesting. It's just not like that long both ways. Like you can probably do the base Destiny 2 story in like, I don't know, 6 hours generously. And you could probably do the DLCs in like an hour each. So like the story isn't really like the selling point. It's the thing you do after you beat the story, right?
Okay.
And to that degree, it's a lot.
Okay, so before we go any further, do I have to play Destiny 1?
No, I mean, if you want to understand everything, then like, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, though, like there's so much lore and there's so many like community members that have taken their own sweet time to explain everything. Like my name is Bife. He's a community lore master. And what I mean by that is he's basically made videos entirely dedicated to like, Destiny's deeper lore and deeper stories. Like,
Sure.
You're a Halo fan. Think of all the stories that like don't get told in the game.
I know. Yeah.
But they get told in books and movies and,
like the
et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So Destiny has a lot of that, man. And so like, honestly, if you like run into a character or run into a thing where you're like, why does it seem like there's history here I don't know about? Like, okay, like in the new DLC, there's going to be this main character called Uldren. Okay. They're going to call him a prince. Bungie's been teasing out that guy actually kills one of our current main characters in Destiny. That main character is actually gone now to prep for the DLC. So like pre-patch, the main character was just chilling in the tower.
Sure.
So he would just hang out in this little, he would hang out in like the Traveler social space.
Yep.
And this new patch, it says, hey, Kate has gone to explore some new area. And then come the launch, we realized that the new area he was exploring got him killed. So that's the whole premise of the story where we're at. But that character that kills him, he was actually a Destiny 1 character we haven't heard about for 2 years.
Okay.
So this DLC goes to explain what's been going on for 2 years and, what this character's been up to, what's been going on, where his sister's been, because his sister was the queen and he was the prince. So we really get to get a lot of answers. Hopefully you get a lot of answers from all the questions we've had over the past 2 or 3 years. And so, you don't have to come in, man, because a lot of people are going to be with you. Like, they're going to be wanting to know what's going on. And if you ever feel lost, honestly, just go to YouTube, Google what this thing is, and you'll figure it out.
Sure. Okay. I think as far as like story and lore goes, it's never been difficult for Bungie to sell me anything like that. So I think I'm pretty much sold on that aspect of it. What about you mentioned like mechanics changes? Yes. Can you go into some of those for me?
Yeah, let me just go to the tower real quick because that's gonna be the best way to show it. Because I don't think I have anything. So this is like a social space in Destiny. You go to the Traveler, they call it the tower. It's basically just a whole hub. You get to interact with other NPCs, your other people. They have like challenges you can pick up, bounties, rewards, etc. So it's basically the whole place where you do everything that you can't do like just by playing the game. You don't shoot things here. You just hang out. So we're gonna go there real quick, and this is the menu where you can change your character. All your different armor is here. You can make changes here. It's pretty standard. Helmet,
hold
gloves.
on. Did I see something of the Void?
Probably. There's probably a few things. Oh, well, the Void. Hold on. This right here, Void Walker.
No. It was a gold
That's a whole
piece,
ability,
think, right?
Well, there's a few things. It might have been like the Stag Eye of the World.
Oh, maybe it was Eye of the World. All right, my bad. Continue.
Well,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. Because like what I'm going to explain here, though, is like if you're brand new to Destiny, you don't know what the hell you're looking at here.
Not at all.
Basically, this is a single character, right? This is a Warlock.
Sure.
There's 3 classes of characters. You have Warlocks, Hunters, and Titans. They all come with some special weapons they can use. They come with special abilities right here, which is what these are, these supers. And then they have, armor, which is all unique to them. So like this helmet will only go for a Warlock. And Hunters have Hunter stuff and et cetera, et cetera. And so the biggest key here, though, is, besides the fact they look different, their abilities here are completely different. So this character has this ability called Dawnblade, Stormcaller, and Voidwalker. It utilizes solar light, arc light, and void light. That's what the different colors represent. They have different elements. So basically, we're looking at solar, lightning, and like void darkness.
Yep.
This one in this case is like you throw a big like fire sword. The other one is like you throw like lightning out of your hands as if you were a Sith Lord, like Palpatine.
Hell yeah.
And then this one is you throw a big ball of purple, which just blows everything up. It's pretty great. Love it a lot.
Easy money.
And so each of these has like different perk trees. So like I get to choose different grenades I want, different empowering rifts, different types of jump. So like I can even change the way my character is mobile, and then like different perks here. So like this perk allows me. Yeah, so it gets pretty.
I see it.
I mean, you can't really like. Yeah, exactly. So like this one, like as I shoot my super, my Nova Bomb is what it's called. It just like sits there and radiates, and anyone who gets close to it takes damage. As in this one, I'll shoot out my Nova Bomb and it actually goes and seeks out enemies. But as soon as it explodes, it's done with. So, you know, they each have their different perks. You know, maybe one's more aggressive, as in this one's more passive. So it's different. They each have their own, you know, other abilities. Like each has their own unique perks per skill tree and their own nades and et cetera, et cetera. And then hunters have their own skill tree and everything. Right. You know, there's not a whole lot of point going too deep into it now because Forsaken's changing them all anyway.
Okay.
So.
And so does that change like what are the mechanics in particular that are changing?
So one big thing here, let me grab some of this here. None of this pertains to you. Okay. So one thing that's big changing is you see how this says, where does it say? Okay, you see this little like primary weapon? It's my very first slot.
Yeah.
So in Destiny 2, they called these kinetic weapons, energy weapons, and heavy weapons. Mainly being that these weapons don't have elements. They do, you know, kinetic damage. So they're kinetic weapons. These elements have a little solar symbol next to them. So this is an elemental weapon. So it's, you know, an elemental weapon. And then you can have elemental weapons as in like solar arc or void, same as your super abilities.
Got it.
And then you have a heavy weapon, which also has an element tied to it, but it only uses heavy ammo. So you see the big purple symbol? It only utilizes heavy ammo. So these are like your rocket launchers, your grenade launchers, your snipers, your heavy snipers. Because as you can see here, we also have another sniper in my secondary slot.
Got it.
That's one big thing that changed with Forsaken is up to this date, snipers used to only be in the heavy slot, same as shotguns. And now snipers and shotguns are interchangeable between the first and second class, depending on if they're kinetic or elemental. So that's a difference.
So more variety then?
Yeah, exactly. So you can change. You could rock 3 shotguns if you wanted to. You could rock all snipers if you wanted to. It just depends on like what you want to do and what fits the situation.
Okay. And that's, so this is basically just like a character that's, and like, so just to get this out of the way, I'm not really like concerned with PvP at all. So anything that I start talking about that maybe relates too much to PvP or is like, almost PvP specific, just interrupt me and let me know that.
For sure. I mean, to be honest, it's not a big issue in Destiny because they usually try to keep the two pretty separate. I think going forward, they're going to try to bridge the two a little bit more.
Okay.
So like they're introducing a new game mode called Gambit. Gambit basically is a PvPvE game mode.
Sure.
What I mean is like you basically have 2 arenas, one for you, one for your opponents. You try to score points against each other, but based on your success for your team, the better your team does, the more obstacles your opponents have to overcome. Okay, so like if I kill certain enemies, then it spawns those enemies on their side and vice versa. As they kill certain enemies, that triggers events on my side to occur. Okay. And there's even a chance where like you can activate another event where you can go into their actual space and fight them directly. So that's the thing. But that's the only case of that. Previous to that, PvP has been very separate. So like this gun I'm using right now is a really good PvE weapon. It's called a Midnight Coup. It's a hand cannon. I never use this in PvP because I feel like I'm always fighting at a disadvantage. So I don't worry about it.
Okay.
So like there's different guns for different situations. There's a different time to kill for both PvP and PvE.
Okay, got it. So something that I've thought about for a really long time, or I guess like when I first heard of Destiny, it was being compared to, and probably wrongfully so, at least from what I've ever seen, it was being compared to Borderlands. So in what ways
people were throwing around the term looter shooter?
Yeah. So in what ways would you consider it to be similar? And what are the striking differences?
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong because I wasn't a big Borderlands guy. Did Borderland have random rolls on their guns, or when a gun dropped, it was guaranteed to be always the same? Like were there perks or anything?
No,
they
had there abilities? So it was random. So like you could get it's not necessarily that like the gun itself was random, but that there were like so like you could get a gun that was called like Starfire or something like that, right? but it would be like Starfire RR2, and then it would be Starfire RR3, or you know what I mean? So like it would be like the same gun, but with different versions of it, and there would be like 1,000 different versions of certain guns, and then like only 100 different versions of better guns and things like that. And so like
got you.
Whenever you like if you got a pearlescent gun, which is like the best guns in the game, like if you rolled, if you killed a boss, the boss would randomly drop, and it would drop, if it did drop a pearlescent weapon, that pearlescent weapon would be a random caliber of the base gun, or like one of the 5 of those pearlescent types.
Okay, so that's actually going to be where Destiny, so that whole system is just like Destiny 1. In Destiny 1, no 2 guns were likely to be the same unless you really tried for them to be the same.
Okay.
So, but in Destiny 2, they made everything static rules. So if anyone else got, let's say they got the Vigilance Wing, Vigilance Wing would always be the same as everyone else's Vigilance Wing. And that's a bad example because it's exotic. But let's say Better Devil's here. Perfect example. It's a legendary gun. It's purple, so it's legendary. In Destiny 1, every single Better Devil's was exactly the same. Didn't matter how you got it. Didn't matter where you got it. If you got a Better Devil's, it was going to be the exact same all over the board. But in Destiny 2, they're introducing random rolls back, which is what Destiny 1 did, which means I could have a Better Devils with different types of sights. It could have different abilities here. It could have a different, ability here. And on top of that, they're redoing the Masterwork system. So the Masterwork system is like, think of it as like a Call of Duty style. You like level the single guns. Yeah, proficiency. So in this case, it's either Masterworked or it's not. It's just how it works in Destiny 2. Cool. But after Forsaken drops, the Masterworks are now going to be ranged on a 1 to 10 scale, and you have to spend more materials to level it up. So if you have all the materials to rank it up and it's a Masterwork weapon, because you have to either earn it or buy it, then yeah, you can just level it straight to 10 and get the best proficiency and get all the perks that the 1 through 10 Masterwork has. So like, I think it's like Masterwork 7 or something. You get like a new ability for your weapon, and that ability is random, and you get to change that by like spending more, remastering it, basically. Okay. So that system's changing, but basically the whole thing is always these perks. So like, this is a pretty good gun. It has explosive rounds, has extended mag, has steady hand sights. Like I like this gun. It's a good gun. But in Destiny 2, what if it's better? Or Destiny 2 Forsaken, what if this gun's going to be better, man?
Yeah, or so like you can get different roles, right? That's basically
exactly. So different perks. So like, what if instead of extended mag, I get a perk called Rangefinder, which extends the range of my weapon and makes it more lethal at a further range, which is a big deal for hand cannons.
Right.
Because they kind of fall in that mid to short range. Well, what if you can extend it to like, long mid to like short range? Like that's kind of, if you have the same weapon, but yours has Rangefinder, you can stay at a further distance and kill me, even though we have the exact same gun. So like that's pretty significant.
Okay. As far as like, so this is probably just again back on the Borderlands thing. Like, how do you achieve? How do you upgrade stuff? Like, how do you get better weapons? Is it just through like bosses and things like that?
Weapons drop in a variety of ways. So like some weapons can only be obtained through like nightfall strikes, through prestige raids, through raids in general. So it really depends what you're gunning for. If you see these yellow weapons, a lot of these yellow weapons, these exotic weapons, they can just drop from exotic engrams, and you get engrams that just drop randomly as you continue to play the game. So there's instances of that too. Like it just depends like what you're going for.
Okay, but I mean, but it is kind of like a targeted system though. So like you can you can decide something that you're trying to get, and then spend time trying to get that.
Okay, so let's that Whisper of the Worm, that sniper I was showing you.
Yeah.
There's only one way to get it. So if you want that gun, which I highly recommend everyone strives for, then there is a set path to get it for every single person. It's just very difficult. So like if you want to get that gun per se, you can only get it between the weekends. It has to be on a weekend. You have to be on a single planet, has to be on a certain event on that planet happening, and you have to not do the event. You have to do a separate thing that happens at the same time of that event. So there's a lot of hoops to jump through and a lot of RNG based around that. I just clicked on character, rip. But basically, if you do all those things, like if you abide by all that, then you can certainly do your thing, man.
Okay.
And like, that's the whole point. Like there's a set path for certain things. Like if you want to get if you just want to get all the exotics in the game, then there's a few you'll have to grind for, like the Whisper of the Worm. but there's actually a character called Zur, which comes on the weekends, and he brings a random roll of exotics.
Okay.
So if there's an exotic you don't have and you just want it, you go check in with him if he may have it. And he actually has a thing called the Faded Ingram. And that Faded Ingram gives you an exotic that you're guaranteed not to already have. So there is a roundabout way to get all the items. It just isn't, it's all based on RNG.
Okay. I like it. So as far as I'm concerned, there isn't anything lore-wise that isn't selling me on it, and there isn't anything story-wise that isn't selling me on it.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking like, it can't all just be sunshine and rainbows, right? What are the things? Yeah. So why don't you tell me, without turning this into
let's shit on Destiny.
Yeah. Without doing that, just like very objectively tell me what is like not working or what may not still may not work.
Okay,
I think that's what
so it's kind of hard to answer that question because one, this update's brand new. I haven't had a lot of time with it yet,
right?
And also things will continue to change as the new update builds and continues to improve with Forsaken dropping next week. So now it's kind of a hard time to really shit on everything because everything's changing. Sure. But what we can talk about, like why Destiny isn't the most popular game right now, is because they have a really loyal community that doesn't feel like it's been appreciated. Like doesn't feel like their concerns and like their outspokenness has been rewarded with results. And so like for instance, the whole idea of random rolls, no one ever complained that they didn't want random rolls. Bungie removed random rolls because they wanted the game to be more like fair and competitive. They were like, oh yeah, like we shouldn't have someone grind forever to get the perfect god roll gun. Like we just make it so people get the gun and then they can play competitive, because they had like all these hopes and dreams to make Destiny like the next CSGO kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so they took a lot of precautions to work towards that end, and it just didn't work out. What you got is like a really boring PvP meta. So like what people got instead was like, instead of this really rich 6v6 chaotic experience that people loved in Destiny, where players' skill was rewarded more than anything, kind of like PUBG, kind of like a battle royale game, what you got was like this really strong team kill meta, which is very close to Overwatch. And maybe that's not like a bad example because, Overwatch is very successful, but it wasn't a very fun like competitive edge. Like It wasn't like there was a healer and a tank, and it wasn't like it was built to be that. It was just team shooting. It was like, okay, is it a 1v2? The 2 should always win. The only time the 2 doesn't win is if so-and-so uses their super, and you only get your super once or twice a game. So like you only got 1 or 2 opportunities around to counter that, and that made for really boring PvP play. And that's why a lot of people left, is they were like, I want to be able to come in there and be enabled to just shit on people. Like I want to be able to come into the game and feel powerful. And instead, what I feel like is like my, it's just, am I playing with my team? Am I on my own? If I'm on my own, I'm screwed. If I play with my team, I have a chance. So that's kind of where things were at, man. And so the PvP meta was boring. The PvE meta was just kind of boring as well, because people were like getting to the end game too quick with nothing to do.
Yeah, that's a problem, is like if you don't have the rolls, it's like, how do you keep things spicy?
Yeah, like people would get to the end and they would be chilling and they'd be like, okay, what now? Like what, like really though, what do we do?
Yeah.
And Bungie's like, oh yeah, like we're gonna do the things and like do the raids, and people do the raids and like they do it like 4 or 5 times and they're done, and they're like, okay, this is fun for a little bit, and then there just wasn't enough to do, man. Like it just wasn't enough to carry the game further than a few weeks. And so like that was one big thing. And also like, I mentioned earlier that you could just run through the DLC campaigns in a heartbeat. Like I could run through the brand new DLC in under 2 hours without breaking a sweat. I could run through like the Curse of Osiris DLC in probably barely around an hour, and it's not great. Like that DLC wasn't good. Like it was fine. It was enough to keep you busy for a week or two, but it wasn't what you wanted to carry you, far into the future. It sure is wasn't what you wanted if you wanted to like, to play Destiny all day, every day and be like a big streamer about it. So that's kind of where we're at, man. Like Destiny just didn't have the players' attention. And like one big thing is like, so Destiny 1 came out and they had all voice actors, like for your character, for the ghost, for like all these extra things. And then they lost the original voice to the ghost, so they had to fill it in with somebody new. So they had to rework everything. Our
Ugh.
character hasn't spoken in 3 years. He spoke in Vanilla Destiny, hasn't spoken in between until Forsaken. Forsaken, they teased out that our character will be able to speak again. And like that's been really irritating. The fact that they took something away from our character, they made him interesting, and now they're just now adding it back 3 years later. Like what's like that was kind of disappointing. I mean, I'm glad it's happening. I just don't get why it took 3 years to handle. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I mean, outside of that, it's been like rewards weren't enough. Like they were either too easy or just uninteresting. Like like I could have an exotic gun and it would get beat by a legendary gun. So then what was the point of the exotic gun? Why would I work for a gun that's harder to get if it's worse than something that's easier?
Right.
So like that was something. So now they're like beefing up all these exotic weapons to be insane. Like there's this gun that you can get by literally playing just the story in this the base story in Destiny. You can get this gun called the Graviton Lance. It is a very competitive gun in PvP. Super good. And so like that's something they did is they made this gun good by upping the second shot burst damage in this gun, making it insane. So this gun feels to me almost more like a sniper or a scout rifle rather than a pulse rifle, which is pretty irregular for a gun like that. So I like it a lot.
Gotcha. So
Very,
so
you know?
diversity, variety, all things coming back in, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like basically the game went from being like streamlined, competitive in mind to now being something that's like actually interesting. Like it can change and it can be something, I don't know, like different. Like every character has a chance to actually customize their character and their loadout to be a little bit different and fit their play style. Not everybody's running that cookie cutter loadout of better devils, tractor cannon, and that Ikelos SMG.
Okay. Interesting. With all that being said, what's the paywall to get into Destiny as it is currently? And I say paywall, but I don't mean it in a negative light unless it is negative.
So you mean like just literally what's it going to cost for people to join in Destiny?
Yeah, right now with as it is.
Okay. I mean, if you don't own Destiny 2, period, $60 for everything. $60 will get you $60 will get you the base game, the previous 2 DLCs, and the new DLC, right? The only thing that's more expensive than that is this new thing they're calling an annual pass. And the annual pass is the next 3 seasons of extra content. It's not quite DLCs, and it's not like it's giving you exclusive access to the seasons because the seasons are universal to everybody. The seasons are free. Like in the seasons, you'll get updates to like the meta, you'll get updates to like gameplay and like mechanics. But what you don't get access to in those seasons without the annual pass is you don't get access to new maps and like new weapons and whatever. But the annual pass is only like $30 and it's supposed to carry you a year. So it's more relatable to maybe the year pass from like Rainbow Six Siege. You pay $30 for the Rainbow Six Siege year pass and you get early access to new operators. You get you know, a lot of those like whole year of operators for free. Like there's definitely some perks. Oh, and you get like bonus ability or bonus currency in Siege. So like it's not like a one-on-one relation. There's the annual pass to the year 3 Siege pass, but I think they're very similar.
Okay. Would you like almost consider it like how Fortnite does battle passes?
No, I wouldn't say it's that.
Okay.
I mean, you could say that it's for the amount of content you get for it or from it. I would say that the battle pass is probably still a better deal, especially since the battle pass is only $10.
Yeah, but it's like it's per season, so technically it's like $30 a year, right? Or like 40 even?
I guess when you break it up like that, yeah. But I'd also argue that it's more content, right? Because like I don't know if there's ever a situation where you want the annual pass without getting Forsaken. So even if the annual pass is only $30,
okay, I see.
Then you still need to pay. Yeah, so then you still need to pay the DLC for Forsaken. Like I don't know if there's a situation where you don't want Forsaken, but the annual pass benefits you.
I see
like,
what
I don't
you're
think
saying.
that. Yeah. So I feel like they have to be either a pair or just Forsaken.
Got it.
So that's where I'm at because I think like the annual pass only makes Forsaken better.
Okay.
And it only makes the future of Destiny better for those who are most dedicated.
So $60 buy-in, 60. So I'm talking total $60 buy-in if you just want up to date, right?
Yes.
And then $90 buy-in if you want future from now moving forward.
Yeah, I would say so. And even in between there, like I don't Their roadmap hasn't displayed any other DLC, so I think it's pretty safe to assume that there won't be another DLC like Forsaken until next September.
Right.
So I'm not foreseeing anything like that, and they haven't hinted anything like that. So yeah, I'd say that's probably the best situation right now. Is like that's the move.
Okay, it all makes sense to me, man. I'm definitely considering it. I don't think that it's one of those things that like it was never on my list of things to do because I think initially what was D1's release date? Like
2014, September 2014.
I think that was around the time. Let me think.
And you got to think, like, when Destiny 1 first came out, it was only on PS4, Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PS3. Like, it was even on old gen, which is why Destiny 1 was handicapped. Like, the very last DLC in Destiny 1 didn't even come out to old gen consoles because it couldn't handle it.
Sure.
Like, Destiny 1 couldn't handle all of the updates for 3 years, all the DLC. So they just stopped supporting it. They were like, we're not going to sugarcoat our last DLC because old gen tech can't handle it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think like around the time that Destiny had come out, I was still actually pretty deep into Halo competitively. And so I was like, I think I've just been one of those people that just like avoided Destiny because of some false sense of betrayal from Bungie.
I mean, you know, to each their own. It's a thing.
Yeah, it's just like
I don't like how it feels that way.
I'm just.
I mean, especially after saying
now.
like how ill-received 343's like experience has been with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's a whole different story though.
Yeah, but, and that's like that's just like my perspective as to why I haven't done Destiny before now. And like I guess really what it comes down to for me, as you know, are like story elements and things like that. So as far as I'm concerned, with this new expansion, it's given me things to think about with regards to, strictly speaking, in relation to story elements. And I've never really been excited about Destiny, ever until recently, and so I don't know. Maybe I'll give it a chance. I think I just keep hearing that like now's the time to get into it.
Yeah, you know I mean, everyone says that every time the new DLC comes out because they always make the game very affordable around those DLC days.
Right.
So like,
but
yeah. So like historically,
I'm talking from like mechanics perspective too. Like the game itself has actually changed.
Oh yeah, and they made the game much more like accessible and improved. Like I wouldn't say the game's easier. I'd say it's more fun. Like that's been my big thing is like, you know, Destiny's changed a lot and I would say it's for the better. And you know, like Destiny 2 leading Destiny or Destiny 2 coming from Destiny 1 like was kind of a hard pill to swallow because like there were definitely things I liked better about it, but the things that we sacrificed to get here were a little steep. And the biggest thing was like the hit from the community. I mean, if you were really intertwined in that Destiny community on Twitch, like you really felt the pain, man. Like you felt that the community was divided. Like people wanted to love this game and it just didn't give them a reason to. Right, like people,
100%.
People know Live Destiny for 3 years, and then they come in Destiny 2, and they're like, "Man, I just don't have that desire, that want." And that's that was really scary because some streamers like I don't see anymore, and that's really sad because like I would love to see those guys around. And coming into Destiny now makes me like hope to see those guys come back. But you just don't know, man. And like so now is definitely the time because like the community is really tight. People like thanks to people like Broman and Goth and even the homies on Mixer like Angry Iceberg and Brofish, Ladman, all the homies, man, that have like really streamed Destiny, like really made the game stand out. And thanks to people like them, like this game hasn't died off in relevance.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And like, I really want this game to succeed on Mixer, but more than that, man, like I just want to see this game succeed in general. Like, I want to see this game come back to those D1 standards where people, want to play this game and like get to know each other over it. Like I made so many friends playing Destiny 1 in its 3rd year on Mixer. And looking back, like I had more enjoyable times and streams then than any other time streaming. And also like just in general, my over 3 years playing Destiny 1 or my favorite 3 years of gaming, period.
Sure.
So, I mean, it was a way for me, even when I was in Chicago for an internship, in Cincinnati for an internship with none of my friends in town, I still kept friendships literally alive through Destiny. Which is why I'm a little like romantic with the game. Like, even when the game didn't give me a reason to love it, I still found a way to forgive it. And which maybe is part of my reason why I want Forsaken to like be so good, man. You know what I mean?
Sure. Do you think that there's any, so like we can hype it up all we want, right? But do you fear, whether it's rational or irrational, I'm asking for an honest answer. Do you fear that this expansion will not deliver those things that you're most looking forward to?
I mean, will it deliver everything I want and more? Maybe not. But do I think it's going to deliver on the big things I wanted on day one? 100%. Because they've already teased it. They've already said that exotic guns are going to be insane again. And they've already been doing that over the past few, like, couple months, really. They've been starting to, like, make guns better and better and better. Like, they haven't been saving everything for the new DLC release. They've been teasing some things out. So, like, guns are getting better. With the new patch today, literally whole mechanics in the game are different. Like, I can put a shotgun in my secondary. That was one of my favorite things in Destiny 1 was having a sniper as a secondary and having a rocket as my, heavy. And that just wasn't possible previously to this week in Destiny 2. So, like, they've really made an effort to make this game, like, stand out and be better. Okay. Which is all anybody ever wants, man. Like, as long as they're giving me improvement and they're showing that they're not just going to let this game die, I don't really care how long it takes. Sure. Actually, there was a podcast recently from a lot of the same guys I mentioned, Goth, Kevin Vision on Mixer, or, K-Magic 101 on Mixer, and Broman. And they run this podcast called The Jam. And basically they said that one of the greatest comeback stories in gaming, period, is No Man's Sky. And if No Man's Sky can come back like it has, then why can't Destiny? And I think that's fair, dude.
I think it's fair, too.
I mean, just to be honest, like, No Man's Sky was literally a game people were calling out 2 years ago for being the scam of the century, right? Yeah. Overhyped. Sony was pushing it. The game was pushing it. And, like, everyone was pushing it. And then, actually, lo and behold, I found out that like, in that podcast, I found out that the whole reason that game was mostly broken was because they were hit with a really bad flood and they lost most of their assets for the game and weren't allowed an extension. So they just had to put out the game that they could put out within the time frame after the flood. So, like, that was a big reason that the game sucked. And now what you're saying is 2 years of restoration from that point of them actually producing the game they want to produce. And, like, I'm not making excuses for No Man's Sky because I still think that, maybe there's a better option out there. And I don't want to forgive people to, like, still release broken games.
Sure.
But, you know what I mean? Like, they could have just released it as a fail and never came back from No Man's Sky.
Right.
And the fact that they didn't just let the game die actually speaks volumes to me as a consumer and as, a streamer that, they give a shit about their game. Despite how it released, if you just get past that and you just look into what the game is now and take it for what it's worth, then awesome. I think the game, is worth an attempt. Okay. And that's what I think Bungie is, man. Like, I don't want to make this a No Man's Sky thing, but I think if No Man's Sky can do that, then why can't Bungie? People that have produced, entire, led classics like like Halo, and then, led into Destiny and created like all these deep lore and stories that have been hidden in Destiny. Why can't they bring back Destiny 2 and make it relevant? You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, I'm hoping Forsaken introduces that. I don't think day one Forsaken is going to be like, I think it's going to be mind blowing and we're all going to be like super happy with it, but I don't think it's going to be the thing that brings everybody back yet. I think that's going to happen this holiday season. Like, once Forsaken's in place, once the new season starts, and once they really get to say, this is where the game's at. We got all the bugs kinked out and, like, we want you back. We want Destiny to have a chance. And actually, one interesting thing that they've done to, like, bring Destiny back in relevance is they made Destiny the free game of PlayStation Plus this month.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, like, I think they really want people to give Destiny a second chance and, bring it back to life.
All right. I mean, that's pretty much all I was curious about.
Yeah, I mean, no worries, man. Like, I could talk Destiny for a while. It's
sure.
Nice to talk about it because, I've been really out of the loop for a while personally.
Sure.
Like, I used to know everything in and out on Destiny 1, and then Destiny 2, it just, like, it's been an on and off thing for a long time, man.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say before we wrap up the podcast?
I would just like to say, if you guys haven't tried Destiny yet, Gambit's going to be free for everybody this Saturday, September 1st. Destiny, the game, is free on PlayStation, so it's a good time to try everything out. DLC and everything is $60 if you want to buy it like from scratch, and that'll get you Destiny, the base game. It gets you Destiny, the Fast 2 DLCs, and it'll get you Forsaken, which is the big one. So that's what I want to say. I hope people will give it a shot. If you aren't sold on it, be a conscious, and mindful consumer. Do your due diligence, do some research, go watch your favorite streamers do it. If you come to Mixer, keep an eye out for everybody, man. Go to the Destiny directory, support the content here. Most likely, though, if you want to hear about the game, go to Twitch. See all those community leaders out there play the game at the highest levels. If you're looking for PvP content, check out people like Gigs and
Dr. Lupo.
Craft. Well, actually, Lupo was a big guy in
playing?
Destiny, and he went Fortnite, so now he's coming back to Destiny. So I haven't seen him play D2. I've never seen Lupo play.
I thought I saw him playing it.
I know he has played it. I know he has played it. I haven't watched him play it
this week, maybe.
So,
oh, okay. Yeah, he was a big Destiny guy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no, he was. He
Maybe,
actually, that was the whole reason that he got picked up by who's his pro team that he's on? It's the Rogue Gaming. Yeah. So he got picked up by Rogue with the full intent to be a competitive Destiny PV or PC, gamer, and then it didn't pan out to be competitive. So they kept him on because he's great, but he talks about it that like they picked him up to be a Destiny 2 player because he was great in Destiny 1, and he actually played on keyboard and mouse on Destiny 1.
Right.
So, in their mind, he was ahead of the game. And Crafty actually was a big one too. Crafty is a big Fortnite guy.
Yes, I just actually watched one of his clips, sniper clips. It was pretty sick.
Yeah, dude. I mean, he's a big Fortnite guy as well as Lupo, and he's killing it. So I'd love to see him come back to it.
Yeah, but, I think that's actually probably an interesting topic. Something I don't want to get into for this podcast in particular. But there's potential there for these people who are big Fortnite names to now bring in a new crowd into something that's already been around for a while. And
that's actually going to be phenomenal, man. Because you wouldn't guess it, but so many D2 content creators or just Destiny content creators, period, have seen a just insane amount of success in Fortnite.
For sure.
I mean, you have Lupo. You have Lupo. You have Crafty, and then I Drop Bodies. He's a guy that actually won one of the summer skirmish tournaments, won like $80,000 in a weekend, and he was a big Destiny guy. And even Triple Wreck, a big D2 content creator, still plays a lot of PvP. He actually played in a Fortnite event a few weekends ago, made a little bit of money out of it, couple bucks, So It's been wild that Fortnite's opened up a lot of opportunity for a lot of Destiny content creators, and I'm looking forward to see those guys come back, man. I hope that, I'm glad those guys were able to find success even at Destiny's low, but I hope recursively that that success is able to come back to Destiny a little bit and bring this game the attention it deserves if it continues to deserve it.
Sure.
I want to just make a big disclaimer out there because I don't want to hype it up, because I'm one of those guys who I'm very excited for Forsaken, but I'm also cautiously optimistic because even though it looks really good, the stuff they're putting out is good, Destiny or Bungie's proven to be marketing experts. They can make
100%
shit look edible, basically, you know what I mean? They can make it look appetizing. And as good as it all looks, as they continue to do live streams and everything for it, I just don't want to get my hopes up like I did for the initial D2 release.
Yeah.
So for everyone who's on the fence, just wait, do your due diligence.
You gotta set yourself up for success, not failure.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. And if you guys are on PlayStation, for sure, go download it for free this month on PSN. Otherwise, try to look out for a deal out there. I don't know if there's a better deal out there than the $60 Destiny everything right now. But, if you watch enough streams, that's where you get your impression, man. If you like the streamer that's playing the game, then, maybe you like the game.
For sure.
But yeah, that's what I want to leave it at, man. I really appreciate you answering all the questions, Andy.
Yeah, I know.
Jeff, I would love Jeff coming in here. Shit on. I wish he was coming in there. He's like, so tell me about this game, dude. Why should I care? Why should I give a shit about Bungo playing Destiny and doing the things, dude? That's what we wish from Jeff, dude. He'd be a healthy dose of reality. Oh wow, I got wrecked. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to Jeff, man. He probably got busy with the kiddo, to be honest.
Yeah, probably something along those lines.
Yeah, how dare he have a family, man? A lovely wife and beautiful kids. How dare
he? Who the fuck does that?
That's what I'm saying, dude. Rude, man. How dare you have a loving family and
how dare you do anything other than be in this podcast? Jesus.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying, chat. Hashtag, ITJ tatted up. About to get it on my chest, man.
ITJ or die, dude.
ITJ or die, dude. Oh shit, I got wrecked again. But yeah, man. So that's Destiny in a nutshell. That's Destiny 2 Forsaken coming out. I'm sure I missed some stuff, man. Because like I said, I've been catching up on a lot of things.
Yeah,
I've been trying to stay really into it. But if I missed anything, guys, that you guys know about, be sure to let us know. I apologize if I didn't cover it. But yeah, man. Here's to the future Destiny, man. Hopefully for good times.
All right, sounds good. Why don't you do us a little bit of an outro here, Hooj?
All right, cool. Well, guys, this is Hoosier Boy. You can find me on Mixer at Hoosier, or mixer.com/Hoosier Boy. You can find me on all the social media on Instagram and Twitter at Hoosier Boy TV. We changed it. It is Hoosier Boy TV now, not Hoosier Boy Mixer. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/C/Hoosier Boy. That's me personally. And also, if you like this podcast, man, or other podcasts like this, tonight was kind of different. We aimed it specifically for Destiny. But if you guys like podcasting and you guys like, maybe our points on things, I would invite you to come check us out at insert2join.podbean.com and, explore with us. Insert yourself into the conversation as we talk about, our setups, our goals as content creators, maybe the necessities you need as you, grow your stream, maybe the connections that you should, try to make as you grow and strive to be a content creator. That's insert2join.podbean.com. We have all sorts of podcasts based around, content creation and games and sorts. So do the thing, dude. Do the right thing. Check us out, maybe. Or if you don't like us, then please don't. I can't handle the criticism. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Yeah, I'm a softie, dude. What do you want from me, man?
Nothing. I don't want.
But I'm an only child, dude. I'm about as soft as it gets, dude. But yeah, that's it for me, man. And Andy, how about yourself?
All right. I am Andy, the narrator, anywhere you may find yourself out there on the net. Thanks for tuning in to this podcast. Like Hoosh said, we did things a little bit different. This is more of a live flow than anything else. So it's just going to be raw, coming in hot. Thanks for tuning in. But we always got to ask, next time, will you insert to join?